Shabbat shalom.
Welcome to our discussion part of our Shabbat service. And, I was thinking as I was speaking about Abraham, when God was about to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, why did he fight so hard to keep Sodom and Gomorrah, this evil place? He didn't even fight with God for his own when he was supposed to sacrifice Isaac. And then I thought, first he said, if there's only 50 men, righteous men, would you not save? And then he went to 40, and then he went to 30, and then he went to 20, and all the way down to one. Couldn't find one. This is how I see things. This is my opinion. I don't speak for us as a community. I can only speak for how I have been led to see, because I lived all my experience in the New Age allowed me to understand about the spiritual nature of our being. We are a physical being that covers over the spiritual in us, and we are all connected. Those of us who have ever experienced you think of someone and they call, or you think of something and they say, another person says it, we have a connection. We are all interconnected. And when Abraham knew, I believe, that God would not destroy Sodom and Gomorrah if they could find 50 righteous men. There's something that happens within us when we behave righteously, when we do the right thing. And I'm not saying we can be perfect and we always do the right thing, but that's why our walk with God is so difficult, because we know the right thing to do. And that's why we struggle to do the right thing. We may think that, well, I'm here in my house, and who's going to know whether I do this? Or I go shopping, and who's going to know whether I steal something, or whether I don't give back if they give me too much change and I don't give it back to them? Who's going to know? God knows. Our behavior, no matter where we are, is adding to the global light. And when the darkness overtakes the light, these horrible things happen. And yes, we have to fight up, and yes, we have to stand up against them. But it starts with us, with our own lives, by when we give ourselves to obey, to do the Torah, when we say that we're going to do it, it's not an easy thing to do. And we have to struggle on a daily basis to do it. So in many ways, I don't believe in walking and parading and holding up flags, because those who hate us are going to hate us. God will not allow anything to happen to us when we are faithful to him, when we have faithfully obey his words. We're always dealing with symptoms instead of going to the root. Look at that root for the word hate. Sin, nun, aleph, snua. He says, I will curse those who hate me. Now, those who hate him, that when I first saw that, because I was always focused on third and fourth generation, it's just a period of time. But how many of us reject God's words, even though we believe in him? Every time we do something wrong, we're rejecting his words. And he's not a human. He's not taking revenge on us. He's just living according to his own nature, where his light is going to burn out the darkness. And I believe that's what we're experiencing today. I don't know how you see it. I'd be very interested, because sometimes I think I'm going to go nuts. Am I seeing the right thing? Yes, Miriam.
Oh, I didn't say anything, but yeah, okay. I sometimes hard to gather my thoughts. It's like I've said before, when sometimes people think it's like, if you do this, God's going to do this. If you do this, it's not like God is Santa Claus. See, Santa Claus says be good, but it's not the same as when God says be good. We're not linked in a relationship with Santa Claus. So it's just like all right, be good. But Santa Claus is, it's not about having a relationship. When God says, do
It is
this,
about having a relationship.
no, I've got with God, yes.
Yes.
But with Santa Claus, which is often the way people think of God, is like, I do this and he'll give me that.
Like a sugar daddy in the
A
sky.
sugar daddy, or even with tithing, if you do this, God will bless you. But it's not that simple, even though it might be true, but it's fuller than that.
Yeah, like
God,
Jacob
God
spoke
wants a
about that.
relationship.
What made Jacob spoke about that in this portion? What made him all of a sudden say, after God had blessed him, he says, if you bring me home, and if I know that you're with me, and I return home to my fathers, I will give you a tenth of everything I had. What made him say that? When you're so grateful to someone, you want to give them back. It's a two-way relationship. Blessing is a two-way relationship. It's not one way. And what is blessing?
It's relationship. Me. It's like relationship is not just what people think, Why I bring up the Santa Claus thing is because often people treat God like Santa Claus. And when you say, well, a lot of people believe in God, but they don't really do anything about it. I'm not sure what that means, if they're really believing in God, or it's a Santa Claus type of thing. When you believe in God, it's not just what you believe, it's fuller than that. It's, you can say, you don't say, I believe in my husband if you're married. You're in a relationship with your husband.
Right. It goes deeper.
It's much deeper.
There's an understanding that all of a sudden there's a blindness that lifts, and you really know. Believing is a little bit different than really knowing.
Yeah. So I'm saying when God says, obey me, he's saying, when you don't obey, you're severing that relationship to the creator of the whole universe, the nurturer, everything that God is. You're severing. So when there's darkness, you can't say, God punished me.
I don't believe we're severing the relationship, Miriam. It's like when you have a child and that child continuously does something wrong.
Well, what I
you
mean,
never sever the relationship with the child, but you allow, if he continues to steal from you, if he continues to do things that are going to get him in jail, you don't sever the relationship. Even if you cut ties with him, that child is always in your heart. You may turn your face from him and say, okay, he's just going to have to suffer the consequences of his own disobedience.
Right. So in other words, God is in everyone. But even Hitler, that's something I don't know how to I think
Hitler made the same choices that Pharaoh did. These are choices. People make choices.
I understand. I guess we can kill it, not sever it, but we could live in darkness. Mass murderers, etc. They're not. I mean, they've squashed the life inside them, to me. So anyway, I guess I'm saying the blessing of God is the relationship, and walking in it's like when you have a good relationship with your parents, it doesn't mean when you do something wrong, as you say, I agree that they're not your parents and they don't love you. But
I think the problem also, sorry for interrupting, is that we don't understand the nature of the soul. How can we understand it? And everybody cries when somebody dies, and I know it's horrible. We're really crying for ourselves because we've lost something, but the soul is still living. I don't know if evil still lives after. I honestly don't know.
I don't believe it.
I think it's just gone. There's an emptiness. There's a darkness there. I don't know. I can't explain it. I don't even know if this whole idea of the fires of hell are real, or if it's just made up so to create fear in people, and control. Anyway, Mauricio, what do you think about some of this that we've been saying?
Well, thank you for the message. It's incredible how the scriptures and especially Torah connects one word with another. And when God says, when those who hate me, and you relate with this parasha, is really deep, interesting. Um, and also, I believe that, well, honestly, regarding the question, um, the soul is really about consciousness, okay? Because it is the spirit of God, um, his ruach is what make us live, okay?
Right.
Um, in the point is the people can make choices, okay? And you can see that, for example, in Esav. Esav, yes, he had some inclinations since he was in the womb of his mother. He had something that you can say, oh, this kid had this inclination to decide, but at the end he made the decisions, okay? For example, you can see in David had the very same inclinations, I would say, that the Saul, okay?
Right.
Because even he was like, well, okay,
He was what?
like a person who he was a fighter, I would say,
Right.
okay. He was a very brave guy, and that's why God did not allow him to build the temple, okay.
He also had red hair, by the way. He was also fiery
Yeah,
like
he
Esau.
was redhead.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like an Isab,
Yeah.
okay. So you have the same inclination for both of them,
Right.
but at the end, both of them have different choices in their lives, okay. And then we can see that God said, oh, David, he's like my heart. So how could it be?
It's
He was a
interesting because
brother.
David was also an outdoorsman. He was a shepherd, but he was always out with the sheep. He fought the bears. He fought off the lions. So the both of them were so similar. It's true. I had never thought of that. So what makes it different? What makes one choose to do the right thing and one choose to do the wrong thing? That's the
Yeah,
question.
that is the choices that we do, okay? Because we have free will, and everything depends on what we decide to do. That is the consequences, okay? So, in regarding the soul, for me, at the time we died, okay, there's no more conscience, okay? So we lost the capacity to feel, okay? Because it's in this world, in this body, that we can feel, okay? For example, if something is burning, I can feel it because of my body,
Right.
because I'm here in this dimension. But is there any possibility about a dead one who can feel fire? Honestly, not,
But
because
that's not
fire is something
consciousness.
physical. Yeah,
Mauricio, I just want to understand, like you said, when you die, you lose your consciousness. Did you, that's,
yeah, yeah.
it's your,
Because remember, for example, this is what the Midrash says, and also Yeshua said that when you, because the question is, hey, what happened when you see another person, when you get married, then your wife die, then you marry again, to whom you will marry to? That's something like that is a question that made to Yeshua, right? And
yes.
he says, oh, in that place there's no more marriage. In that
But
place,
that's not consciousness. I just
yeah,
want,
you lose, yeah, is conscience. Because, for example, how can you be aware that, for example, Peggy is Peggy? because I have conscience about that Peggy is Peggy. Okay. So in the other,
But
I
when
would
she
say
dies and
other
I
side.
die,
But won't we still know that my essence is still my essence on the other side?
yeah, I'm sure we will.
Yeah, probably we can see that the energy, but for sure there is nothing that I can say that Peggy is still the same face on the other side,
No, true.
because
Maybe it's conscience, you mean, or consciousness?
conscience.
Maybe
Yeah,
conscience is
conciencia.
No, but
different.
conscience,
Conscience.
because it's not clear what you're saying in the sense that consciousness is the thing that does continue. When
Maybe
you
he
die,
means conscience.
conscience is a
Conscience,
moral.
yes,
No, but
conscience.
awareness, maybe you mean, like senses.
No,
Yeah, you have the senses, okay?
Yeah.
You lost the senses because there's no senses, because the senses comes from the body, okay?
right.
Yeah, but that's not
But
consciousness.
Well,
yeah,
remember, his first language is
No,
different.
no,
Mary.
it's okay,
Yeah.
Peggy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not criticizing.
yeah,
I'm not criticizing.
yeah. And then you have conscience, conciencia in Spanish, that for us, the point is, okay, on the other side, yes, probably we can see different people, but we will never know honestly until we die how will be the other side, honestly.
Right.
But for me, okay, that's for me, okay, because
Isabel,
there's
did you?
a
I'm sorry.
theology.
Sorry, Isabel, were you holding your hand up, Isabel? Did you say something? Isabel, did you have
No.
your hand up? Okay, I thought she was questioning something.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the problem is that there is a theology that comes from Isaiah that says, "Oh, the world will never die and the flame will never stop," something
Right.
like that.
The last
Okay.
verses of Isaiah 66, right?
Yeah, but that is something that already happened at at Jerusalem, right? Because that is against the king of Sidon. I don't know how to say that in English. Tiro. In that happened already. What is the flame that never? Because, for example, in the Second World War, okay, I don't know if you have seen those scenes that there's a lot of corpse, one like a lot of old people there, okay, and there is a lot of bad smell, and you can see fire everywhere, and you can see in those bodies start to show the worms, for example, okay. That is what is regarding this passage, okay, something similar that happened, especially on those days with less uh, uh, healthy system, okay. So it's not about the other life, okay, because it's the very same. And it's interesting because sometimes you can say, "Oh, I feel a pain in my soul," for example. How can, okay? So, but at the same time, I know it's sometimes it's very difficult because there is a culture that is bombarding us every time, every day, okay, that there is a pain in the other world. Why? Because it's how you sell. You sell fear to people. In that, for example, what Islam do, okay? They tell you, okay, if you die by like a martyr, okay, then you immediately you go to heaven, and then you have 72 girls around you, okay. And if you are an elder person, then God will give you a very strong attitude and carbs in order to satisfy the 72 girls. So how can that be? Okay, is that God? Not really. Okay, that is man-made, but it's to sell people. Hey, go and die, go and die. So because that's what they do in Christianity. um, this theology came because in the middle times, ages, uh, people fear about, they don't have nothing in this world. They
Right.
knew what was misery, okay? And then in the afterlife, they don't want to live in misery the whole eternity, okay? So it's easy to sell that, okay? Go and fight against whatever, and then you go to heaven, and you will see that, for example, the crystal, um um, how do you say that, piso?
Alice,
Yeah, the roads of crystals that says
Rose, and yeah,
apocalipsis. So that is honestly, is about senses. Is talking about senses. So, but it's not really. In Yeshua, honestly, his answer was according to the Talmud, because the Talmud say that in the other place there there no exists more marriage, honestly, okay, because honestly marriage is necessary in this world to reproduce, okay, but in the spirit there is no sex, honestly, there is no male or female, we are lights, okay. So but that's my point of view. Anyway, I would like to add something really that is interesting, because you talk about Rachel, okay. Rachel, she was hitting
Idol.
yeah, the
idol,
teraphim,
right?
the
Yeah,
idols.
Seraphim, yeah. And it's interesting that Jacob said, "Oh, no more life to that person who has your idol," and he didn't know that that Rahel have that seraphim. Okay, at the end she died. Okay, but it's interesting that in the future, in, in this portion, Hosea is talking about the idolatry, and he is basing his prophecy about one descendant of Rachel, Ephraim, okay, because Jeroboam was Ephraim, okay, he was from the tribe of Ephraim, okay, and this Jeroboam in the north side of Israel, he says to Israel, "Hey, the Gal Sahab is again here, so worship this idol, the Teraphim, right?" And they were destroyed. Okay, so when you were talking about that, it came to my mind this prophecy, because honestly, it's related one each other. Okay, because it starts to say to Ephraim, "Hey, Ephraim, stop to do wrong things. Stop to worship idols." And return. Look, in Jacob there is no lie. Okay, and so when you start to compare this portion of the idolatry in Ephraim, then you will see the connection about one of the sons of Ephraim. Ephraim was son of Rachel. And then also it's interesting that there is a prophecy that says, "Hey, look how Rachel cries for their kids."
Right.
Okay. And what happened when Assyria came and conquered all these place they took the son of Rachel because they had seraphims, idolatry, and they were captive, okay, to Assyria. So now Rachel was buried in that place that she could see, okay, how in the future his generations will go to captivity, okay. So
would you dare to say that this is what's happening now with the captivity of our people right now?
not really. I think this is
No,
about,
honestly?
yeah. Well, if you can see the people who was more killed, they were at the party, at
Right.
honestly,
At the rave, that big rave,
yeah. But honestly, is for me right now is lifting up, well, the Rabbi Shemi used to say, okay, in a coin there is two different sides.
Two sides of a coin, right?
Yeah. So when you start to see that the light is growing, then darkness start to grow too. Okay.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Oh, really?
So yeah, for
It
example,
doesn't. Okay.
yeah, for example, you can see Moshe. Okay. Moshe appear who? Bilam. Okay. If then, o sea, what I trying to say in this world, in these days, there's a lot of people who is searching God, who is looking for the truth, but at the same time is lifting up another spirit, I would say, another culture against the light. Okay, so yeah, it's true. Israel is not good, but I can see also people who loves God. For example,
Of course.
for me, there's no another army in the world that I could see that, for example, in this week, a man who had a tefillin in his uniform, then when he get the book to read it,
He stopped
he
the bullet.
realized there is a bullet inside.
Yeah, right. I saw that.
So, wow. So it's incredible.
Yeah.
And so, and you can see a lot of people who are really loving and searching God, and
Yes.
they are doing their best. And also there is another people who doesn't care nothing about God. But to whom really is this attack? Is
To who is
trying
what? To
to
who is
whom is the objective to destroy this kind of attacks of these people, okay? Because I mean, not all, it's like to say, oh, all the Muslims are bad people.
no?
And that is not true, really.
No.
Okay, so but to who are the target of this? Well, is that the person who has emunah, they left the emunah, they have inside their heart hatred to kill another person. That's at the end. For example, I remember eh, when I was a kid, okay, I remember that the girls who were more, I don't know how to say that in English,
Popular?
but not really popular. Is the ones who wants to touch boys, and they are very, oh,
Right.
I'm
Right.
very, I wanted to be seen
Right.
for the boys. Okay,
We would call them the popular girls.
oh, okay, those popular girls. Okay, so um I remember there were some boys that they used to be very I don't want to say holy because they are not holy, but they are very religious kids, okay. And I remember, for example, how these popular girls, wanted to temptate these boys, okay,
To tempt them.
because yeah, to tempt them, because they want to say, oh, I conquered this boy. He's not
Right.
good as he tried to be good,
Right.
okay. And the boy run away and try to evade that girls, okay. And, but the point is, I don't know if they said, uh, hey, $10 for 1 kilo of this, okay. I don't know, but it was like an spirit, okay, that they were trying that these good guys fall before these popular girls, okay. And why they do not, uh, their target wouldn't be the bad ones, okay, but they wanted to have the good ones. It's because um, it's the very same idea, okay. At the moment, the ones who are growing, then start to appear the bad ones, okay. That for the bad ones, they don't care about the rest of the people who are bad, okay, who are not the target is the persons uh, who hold, for example, um, another example in the Bible, okay, um, Abraham, okay. Abraham was a person who honestly saved the world at his time, okay. If there's no Abraham, probably God will send something to destroy all the world at that moment, okay. But at the same time of Abraham, Sodom appeared, the king of Sodom appeared, okay. And he was the opposite completely to Abraham, okay. Abraham was Chesed, he was a Sadiq, and the king of Sodom, he was homosexual, and he was I don't know whatever more, okay. But the point is, again, okay, light. So at this moment, honestly, what is happening in Israel, okay, for me, that there is a lot of persons who are looking really God with a pure heart, okay, and they are searching God. In this Sinat Hinam is against all these people, all these good people, okay, because they wanted these people become persons, not Sadiq, persons who hate another human being, okay, because at the moment they can have they can win this spiritual war. Honestly, there will be more people, for example, praying for the soldiers. There's no more people who can keep the Torah in God's protection to Israel. Say goodbye, okay. So for that reason, for me, it's very important that all, 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 all of us, okay, keep the Torah in our hearts, keep praying for these people, be light to another persons, because it's against us. Honestly, I wonder how people can believe that. Yes, we can say, and we have to say, oh, Hamas is a terrorist organization, and they are doing something bad against Israel. In the negotiation is not fair because we are giving 3 terrorists for 1 free people, and these terrorists, they really have
They're criminals.
they are criminals. Okay, so that is not fair.
No.
And that is not hate about that people. It's about to say it's not just, it's not justice. There is no justice in this treatment. Okay, but we cannot say, oh, we will become like these Muslims. Okay, that if God tell us help these people, we won't help them, even though they hate us. For example, it's incredible. Did you know, I saw a video when a mother who is Palestine receive organs from a dead soldier of Israel.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, in now her baby is alive thanks for this soldier,
right,
who donate his organs, okay, in this war. Okay, that is not about be the same, okay, because it's not what the Torah commands us. But what happened if Israel will say, oh no, okay, we will be like you, Hamas.
Right.
We will start to destroy, we will send a nuclear bomb to you, easy, we don't care about people. Then we will not be light. We
Right.
will not be more light. Okay. So how can the world hold itself if there is no Israel? Okay. So that is for me today. This is a spiritual war.
Yes.
Yeah, it's physical. It's physical. Honestly, it's physical. There is
Yes.
bombs, there is bullets, but it's beyond. It's a spiritual war right now.
Right.
In this world, honestly, it's very sad that has contaminated some Jews, because there are pro-Palestinian Jews right now.
Yes, I know.
So, and you can see, you can say, oh, how can it be possible that there is a pro-Palestinian Jews, okay, believing in those lies?
Yeah.
Because
it's as ridiculous as I saw yesterday a group of young girls who were carrying the flag of the Taliban. They were pro-Taliban. They were free girls wearing makeup, dressing the way they do. It's almost like there's no rationale. The Taliban would destroy these girls. They're not allowed to educate them. They're not allowed to wear makeup. They're not allowed to be free women who can drive a car. People don't know what they're doing. It's insanity.
In wars, homosexuals, for example, they are supporting these criminals.
I know. And if they went there, they would be killed immediately.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. We're living in an insane world, honestly. But yeah,
Yeah, it really is a spiritual, it's a spiritual battle.
But we have to understand that before every time that there were these kind of attacks on Israel, always something happened to precede it. Like we're coming up to Hanukkah soon. And at the very beginning of the book of Maccabees, we read a passage, like a very small chapter, a very small part of the verse that's always overlooked, that a group of young Jewish renegades decided to join with the Hellenists. They decided to become Greek. They no longer wanted to be Jews. They wanted to convert, and they were convincing others that all these terrible things have happened to us since we separated ourselves from the Greeks. It was like opposite to what was happening. They even to go so far as to undo their circumcision so that they could go into the gyms where the men would fight on these big gymnasiums. The men would fight naked. So they didn't want to be seen. They reversed their circumcision. So, and then right after that, we see the army coming and attacking Israel from the north or from wherever they came. And before every war, every time we were attacked, we forgot our God. We go into the land, we grow fat, we grow prosperous, and we forget our God. I'm not saying that we do it on purpose. It just seems to be the pattern. And I don't know how God is going to turn this whole thing around. It seems the only time we're praying to him now like crazy because of what happened. We weren't praying to him like crazy before. Before, we were fighting against each other. We were killing each other in the streets. We were getting out of cars and hitting each other. And there was at every level of our government, every level of society in Israel with Sinat Chinam. Now we've taken, look what has to happen to us. Are we crazy to keep allowing these same things to happen? I don't understand why. Even in my own life, why did I have to go through a personal Holocaust before I could come to God? Look what Jacob had to go through, having to leave his home, having to work 7 years for Rachel, then getting Leah, always being cheated, always being abused, until finally he was able to faithfully obey his God. It's wow. What a
and you know, it's interesting the age of Jacob when he left his house. He was like 67 years old.
Right.
So he the problem of Jacob, that if God did not give him a kick, okay, then he will never grow. Because
no, he was a mama's boy.
Comfortable at the house.
Yeah, he was a mama's boy. Mama took care of everything.
Yeah.
That's true. So he was 67, and Rachel must have been young.
Yeah, she was a very young girl. Okay.
Wow.
So, and then he, for that reason, he had the kids very old. Okay.
Wow. Right. It's true. Wow. I forgot that.
Yeah. And so he was not really a kid. Okay.
No.
But he was like easy to deceive because he was at his home all day. He was overprotected, and that's a problem to have kids overprotected, because you don't face them to reality. Okay?
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's why also, you know, that is why the prophet says, it's not by might, it's not by power, it's by my spirit, says the Lord.
Exactly.
Because this is a spiritual war.
Right.
And yes, we need those soldiers fighting, okay, to protect Israel, okay. And look, it's to protect Israel. It's not to destroy Gaza. It's not to destroy Palestine.
Right.
It's to protect Israel.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the same time, we all the rest of us that we are not in the army, we have to keep praying for Israel.
Yes.
God to protect all these soldiers. Okay?
Yes.
That they in his own decisions, he can be light. Okay, they go for life. Okay, looking for life, not for death.
Right.
Okay? That is the spirit. Okay.
Exactly. Boy, your birds are so busy today. They're happy with the weather. They wouldn't be happy up here, let me tell you. It's cold.
Yeah, right now they are talking a lot.
I see that. They like the message.
Yeah.
Would they know one day they'll all be free?
What kind of birds are those mostly?
No, honestly, we want to have them free. We have to cut the wings, okay, and we rather to have them then with the wings that they can fly inside of the cage, okay. But the cage is very is big. It's not, you know, like
yeah. I think you showed us once the big cage. Yeah.
So and also at the time we feel them, we open the door, and they stay inside. They don't want to. Sometimes my wife takes them out, and go and send them to the house, but they are really they are destroying everything. Okay.
Oh.
What kind of birds are they?
Huh?
Are they
Yeah,
parrots?
parrots.
What?
Yeah,
Oh,
Parrots.
they're
different
parrots.
kind of parrots. Okay,
Oh, so cute.
because there are different kinds of parrots here in El Salvador, and well, they have a common name here. One is perico, is parrot, and the other one is talnica. They say talnica. I don't know how to say that in English.
Okay.
But it's a parrot that is smaller.
Oh,
Okay.
parakeet. Here we call it a parakeet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are different kind of parrots. For example, here you can see in the like 5 p.m. or very early in the morning, they go to the south and they return to the north. Okay.
Right.
But there is a parrot which the head is red. Okay. And there are another parrot that the head is like blue.
Or
Okay.
green. I've seen
And
green.
the other that has different colors of green.
Beautiful. Right.
So there are a lot of.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Before we close, Mauricio, would you be willing to say a prayer for the soldiers in Israel, for the people, for the families?
Yeah. Okay, I will.
If it's easier for you in Spanish, go ahead. You know, whatever's easier for you. God understands Spanish.
Yeah, he understands every language. Okay, Lord, thank you for this Shabbat, and thank you for the community that we can share together time and for the message. We bless every person who is connected in this moment with all of us and the persons who will see the message. And we ask you today that keep protecting Israel.
Amen.
Protect Israel against themselves first, and also against their enemies, the physical enemies. We beg you to that persons who are in Hamas possession right now, they can return safe to their homes, bring them back home, bring their families happiness because of their return. And we ask you that this war can stop, and Hamas can understand that is not good to destroy Israel. Please change, uh, bring them light
Amen.
to so they can change their mentality.
Yes.
And also, God, I beg you that protect all of us during the week, and that we can have a very good week. Thank you. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you, Mauricio. Thank you, everybody, for sharing our Shabbat, and enjoy the rest of the day. And as Mauricio said, let us bring, in all that we do, let us bring light to this world, to our neighbors around us, to our families and our friends. And that is not always easy, because we have to deal with our characters. But with his spirit within us, there is hope. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Bye.
Shabbat shalom, Peggy.
Shabbat shalom, Janet.
Shabbat shalom.
Call me back.
Bye.